I need to tell you something that's going to make a lot of people angry. Something that goes against everything you've been told about healing trauma, about recovery, about getting better. But if you're tired of being stuck in the same patterns, if you're exhausted from years of therapy that feels like you're walking in circles, if you're ready to hear the truth about why conventional approaches to trauma recovery are keeping you trapped in mediocrity, then you need to hear this. I'm about to expose the biggest lie that the mental health industry has been selling you. I'm about to show you why traditional therapy, while well-intentioned, is fundamentally flawed when it comes to healing from complex trauma. And I'm going to give you the roadmap to not just survive your trauma, but to transform it into the greatest source of power you've ever known. But first, let me be crystal clear about something. I'm not attacking therapists. I'm not saying they're bad people. Many of them genuinely want to help. Many of them have helped people take important first steps. But if you want to truly thrive, if you want to break through every mental barrier and become the most powerful version of yourself, then you need to understand why the conventional approach will never get you there. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The mental health industry has been treating symptoms, not causes. They've been putting band-aids on bleeding wounds instead of performing the surgery that's actually needed. They've been teaching you to manage your trauma instead of transforming it. And that's why you're still stuck. If you're ready to accelerate your healing, if you're ready to stop settling for incremental progress and start creating quantum leaps in your transformation, then hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and tell me in the comments, how long have you been trying to heal using conventional methods? And are you ready to try something completely different? Because what I'm about to share with you is going to change everything. Let me tell you about my friend Sarah. I've known her for over 10 years, since her early 20s. She's been through hell childhood abuse, toxic relationships, deep trauma that runs through her entire being. And she's been in therapy for most of those 10 years. She's worked with multiple therapists, tried different approaches, taken medication, done all the things that the mental health system told her to do. Last month, I saw her for the first time in a year. Within 30 minutes of our conversation, she had a complete emotional breakdown, full-blown panic attack, uncontrollable crying, the same anxiety spirals that I witnessed 10 years ago. 10 years of therapy, and she was having the exact same emotional reactions to the exact same triggers. 10 years of professional help, and she was still stuck in the same destructive patterns. She's still binge drinking every weekend to numb the pain. She's still surrounding herself with toxic friends who enable her dysfunction. She's still choosing relationships with men who use and abuse her. She's still running from her own dark night of the soul, using every addiction and distraction she can find to avoid facing the truth about what needs to happen for her to truly heal. This is what conventional therapy produces: people who understand their trauma intellectually, but are still enslaved by it emotionally, physically, and spiritually. People who can talk about their childhood wounds, but haven't actually healed them. People who have insights, but no transformation. People who are managing their symptoms, but not addressing the root cause. Here's why this happens. Traditional therapy approaches trauma from only one dimension, the mental, psychological dimension. They believe that if you can understand your trauma, if you can talk about it, if you can process it cognitively, then you'll be healed. But trauma doesn't live in your mind. Trauma lives in your body, in your nervous system, in your energy field, in your very cells. You can spend years talking about your narcissistic father, but if your nervous system is still wired for hypervigilance, if your body is still carrying the tension of unexpressed emotions, if your energy field is still contaminated with the imprints of abuse, then you're not healing, you're just becoming a very articulate victim. The mental health industry has created a culture of professional victimhood. They've taught you to identify with your trauma, to make it part of your identity, to see yourself as someone who has been damaged and needs to be fixed. They've convinced you that healing is a slow, gradual process that takes years or even decades. They've made you believe that managing your symptoms is the best you can hope for. But this is a lie. This is not how true healing works. True healing is not slow and gradual, it's quantum. It's not about managing symptoms. It's about eliminating the cause. It's not about understanding your trauma. It's about transcending it. It's not about becoming a functional victim. It's about becoming a powerful creator. Here's what the mental health industry doesn't want you to know. Your trauma is not your identity. Your past is not your destiny. Your wounds are not permanent. You are not broken. You are not damaged goods. You are not someone who needs to be fixed. You are a powerful being who has been temporarily disconnected from your power. And that disconnection can be reversed completely. But it requires a radically different approach. It requires you to stop thinking about trauma as something that happened to you and start understanding it as energy that got stuck in your system. It requires you to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as a creator of your reality. It requires you to stop managing your symptoms and start attacking the root cause. The root cause of your trauma is not what happened to you. It's what got stuck in your system as a result of what happened to you. It's the energetic imprints, the cellular memories, the nervous system patterns, the emotional blocks, the spiritual wounds that were created when you were hurt. And these can be cleared, not through years of talking, but through direct intervention at the energetic level. This is why my approach is so different. This is why it works where conventional therapy fails. Because I understand that healing trauma requires a multi-dimensional approach. You have to address the mental dimension, yes, but you also have to address the physical dimension, the emotional dimension, and the spiritual dimension. You have to work with the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit simultaneously. Let me break this down for you. The physical dimension is where trauma gets stored in your tissues, in your nervous system, in your cellular memory. You can't heal trauma just by talking about it. You have to feel it. You have to express it. You have to move it through your body. This is why I incorporate somatic work, breath work, movement, and physical practices into my approach. The mental dimension is where trauma creates limiting beliefs, negative thought patterns, and psychological blocks. But instead of just talking about these patterns, I use techniques like subliminal reprogramming, brainwave entrainment, and consciousness hacking to actually rewire your brain at the subconscious level. The emotional dimension is where trauma creates stuck emotions, suppressed feelings, and emotional numbness. Instead of just processing these emotions intellectually, I teach you how to feel them fully, express them completely, and release them permanently. The spiritual dimension is where trauma creates disconnection from your higher self, from your purpose, from your power. This is the dimension that conventional therapy completely ignores. But it's perhaps the most important one, because your trauma isn't just psychological, it's also energetic, spiritual, and karmic. When you address all four dimensions simultaneously, when you attack the problem from every angle, when you use every tool at your disposal, that's when quantum healing happens. That's when you don't just manage your symptoms, you eliminate them. That's when you don't just survive your trauma, you transform it into power. But here's the key. This process is not comfortable. It's not gentle. It's not slow and gradual. It's intense. It's challenging. And it requires you to face everything you've been running from. It requires you to go through the fire, not around it. It requires you to embrace the discomfort, not avoid it. This is where conventional therapy fails you. It tries to make the healing process comfortable, safe, manageable. But trauma is not comfortable. Healing is not safe. Transformation is not manageable. True healing requires you to shock your system, to break through your comfort zone, to do the work that scares you. You have to be willing to fast, to cut out the addictions that are numbing your pain. You have to be willing to feel the emotions you've been avoiding. You have to be willing to face your shadow, to confront your demons, to walk through your own dark night of the soul. You have to be willing to die to who you've been so that who you're meant to become can be born. This is why I incorporate fasting into my approach. When you fast, you're not just cleansing your body, you're breaking the addiction to comfort, to instant gratification, to avoiding discomfort. You're teaching your nervous system that it's safe to be uncomfortable, that you can handle intensity, that you don't need to numb yourself to cope with life. This is why I use high vibrational supplements and natural compounds. Your body has been contaminated by trauma, by stress, by toxins, by the byproducts of chronic survival mode. You need to cleanse at the cellular level, to raise your vibration, to give your body the nutrients it needs to heal and transform. This is why I incorporate spiritual practices, energy work, and consciousness expansion techniques. Because your trauma isn't just stored in your body and mind, it's stored in your energy field, in your chakras, in your aura, in your soul contracts. You have to clear these energetic imprints if you want to be truly free. But most importantly, this is why I focus on thriving, not just surviving. Conventional therapy teaches you to manage your symptoms, to cope with your trauma, to function despite your wounds. But that's not good enough. You weren't meant to just survive, you were meant to thrive. You weren't meant to just manage your trauma. You were meant to transform it into power. Think about it. How many people do you know who have been in therapy for years and are still stuck in the same patterns? How many people do you know who can talk about their trauma in great detail, but haven't actually healed it? How many people do you know who understand their childhood wounds, but are still being controlled by them? This is what happens when you try to heal trauma from only one dimension. You get insights without transformation. You get understanding without healing. You get management without cure. You get survival without thriving. But it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to spend years in therapy making incremental progress. You don't have to settle for managing your symptoms. You don't have to accept that your trauma is just something you have to live with for the rest of your life. You can accelerate your healing. You can create quantum breakthroughs. You can not just survive your trauma, but transform it into the greatest source of power you've ever known. But it requires a different approach. It requires you to stop playing small, to stop settling for mediocrity, to stop accepting the limitations that conventional wisdom wants to place on you. Life is short. You don't have time to waste on approaches that don't work. You don't have time to spend years in therapy making small improvements. You don't have time to wait for healing to happen slowly and gradually. You need results now. You need transformation now. You need to break through your limitations now. Look at the people on their deathbeds. What do they regret? They regret not living fully. They regret not taking risks. They regret not pursuing their dreams. They regret not becoming who they were meant to become. They regret wasting time on things that didn't matter and not investing time in things that did. Don't be one of those people. Don't waste your life managing your trauma instead of transforming it. Don't settle for survival when you were meant to thrive. Don't accept mediocrity when you were meant for greatness. You have a choice right now. You can continue doing what you've been doing, the therapy, the medication, the slow, gradual approach that keeps you stuck in the same patterns. Or you can choose something different. You can choose to attack your trauma from every angle. You can choose to embrace the discomfort of true healing. You can choose to accelerate your transformation. I understand that this is controversial. I understand that this goes against everything you've been taught about healing. I understand that some people will be triggered by what I'm saying. But I also understand that there are people watching this who are ready for something more. People who are tired of being stuck. People who are ready to break through their limitations and become who they were meant to become. If you're one of those people, if you're ready to stop playing small, if you're ready to transform your trauma into power, then I have something special for you. I've been developing a comprehensive system that addresses all 4 dimensions of healing: a mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. It's a step-by-step process that will take you from where you are now to where you want to be. This isn't just another course or program. This is a complete transformation system that incorporates everything I've learned from my own journey and from working with countless others who have broken through their limitations. It includes somatic work, breath work, energy healing, subliminal reprogramming, nutritional cleansing, spiritual practices, and consciousness expansion techniques. But it's not for everyone. It's only for people who are serious about their transformation. It's only for people who are willing to do the work, to face their demons, to walk through the fire. It's only for people who want to thrive, not just survive. Here's what I need you to understand. Conventional therapy is not wrong, but it's incomplete. It's addressing one dimension of a multi-dimensional problem. It's like trying to heal a broken leg by only treating the psychological impact of the injury while ignoring the physical wound. It might help you cope with the pain, but it won't actually heal the bone. Your trauma is not just psychological, it's also physical, emotional, and spiritual. It's stored in your body, your energy field, your cellular memory, your nervous system, your subconscious mind. And to heal it completely, you have to address all of these dimensions simultaneously. This is why people get stuck in therapy for years without making real progress. They're only addressing one piece of the puzzle. They're trying to think their way out of a problem that exists in their body, their emotions, and their energy field. It's like trying to fix a computer problem by only working on the software while ignoring the hardware. But when you address all four dimensions, when you attack the problem from every angle, when you use every tool at your disposal, that's when miracles happen. That's when people heal from decades of trauma in months instead of years. That's when people don't just manage their symptoms, they eliminate them completely. I've seen it happen over and over again. People who have been stuck for years, who have tried everything, who have almost given up hope, they come to me, and within months, they're completely transformed. Not just healed, but thriving. Not just surviving, but creating the life of their dreams. This is what's possible when you stop accepting the limitations of conventional wisdom and start embracing the possibilities of true transformation. This is what's possible when you stop playing small and start claiming your power. This is what's possible when you stop settling for mediocrity and start pursuing greatness. But you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to face your demons. You have to be willing to walk through the fire. You have to be willing to embrace the discomfort of true transformation. Are you ready? Are you ready to stop making excuses, to stop settling for less, to stop accepting the limitations that others want to place on you? Are you ready to accelerate your healing, to break through your barriers, to become who you were meant to become? If you are, then I want to invite you to join me on this journey. I want to share with you the system that has transformed my life and the lives of countless others. I want to show you how to not just survive your trauma, but transform it into the greatest source of power you've ever known. Your trauma is not your prison, it's your portal. Your wounds are not your weakness, they're your strength. Your pain is not your punishment, it's your path to power. But you have to be willing to walk that path. You have to be willing to do the work that others won't do, to face the truths that others won't face, to embrace the journey that others won't embrace. The choice is yours. You can continue doing what you've been doing and keep getting the same results. Or you can choose something different. You can choose to accelerate your healing. You can choose to break through your limitations. You can choose to become who you were meant to become. What's it going to be? Are you going to stay stuck in the same patterns? Or are you going to break free? Are you going to settle for survival? Or are you going to choose to thrive? Are you going to remain a victim of your trauma? Or are you going to transform it into power? The time for excuses is over. The time for playing small is over. The time for accepting mediocrity is over. The time for your transformation is now. Your greatest life is waiting for you on the other side of your trauma. But you have to be willing to walk through the fire to get there. You have to be willing to face everything you've been running from. You have to be willing to become who you were meant to become. Are you ready? Because I'm ready to show you the way. I'm ready to guide you through the process. I'm ready to help you transform your trauma into power. But first, you have to be ready to do the work. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Are you ready to take that step? Are you ready to begin your transformation? Are you ready to become who you were meant to become? Your time is now. Your power is calling. Your transformation is waiting. Don't let this moment pass you by. Don't let fear keep you stuck. Don't let limiting beliefs hold you back. You were meant for greatness. You were meant to thrive. You were meant to transform your trauma into power. And I'm here to show you how.